Let's Talk About Meh, the podcast. I am your host, David James Hobbs, and this is my second podcast with my second victim. Checking my notes, make sure I get it right. Stephen Ness. Ness, because I got your last name wrong.
Yes.
Before we get into chatting to you, I'm just going to do it now before I forget, because I forget every video. I'm going to do my socials. Crappy socials. So if you want to speak to me, ask any questions or any questions in upcoming podcasts, contact me and email on official@letstalkaboutmeh@gmail.com. I'm also on Instagram at Let's Talk About Meh. Turn my mic off. Let's Talk About Meh 1. Should put money on that because I told you I was going to do it and I did it straight away. And I'm also on YouTube, but you know I'm on YouTube because you'll be watching this video now. So things worked out for you and for me because you're watching it. Good stuff. Right, let's get on with it. Oh yeah, because you said I had to do it, so I hate doing it. But yeah, do the like, do the subscribe, do the share. I'm too old to say that stuff. Far too old. My soul genuinely dies every time I do it. So we have Stephen Ness here with us,
Hello.
who I'm amazed I managed to actually get to fit in my room because you're a huge bitch. You a big boy. You're tall. You're tall.
I am.
So yeah, we're gonna ask you a little bit who you are. I would do the joke that I did previous podcast, which is ASL, but you won't have a clue what that means, will you?
I vaguely remember.
You only remember from watching.
Yeah.
But you don't know what ASL means, do you?
No.
No. See that I knew this was gonna go one or two ways, where it was gonna flow nice, or it was just gonna continually kill me because it's gonna make me realize how old I am because you are considerably younger than me, and it's just gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. I'm gonna rip it off like a band-aid though. So Stephen, who the fuck are you?
I am Big Steve.
Big Steve!
Stephen Ness, aka the Harbinger.
In your wrestling persona, because
Yes.
you are a trainee, of mine, and you are also a performer now on the main roster. Yeah. So I'll make things easy for you. How old are you?
I am 21.
You're how old?
21.
There we go. I'm gonna have to get the volume out. Yeah, I can see already on the levels.
Oh, fair enough.
21.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you into?
Various things like music, like metal music.
Couldn't tell from looking at you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really hide it, do I?
No.
Yeah.
You got a very classic metalhead look about you.
80s thrash, isn't it? Yeah. That's sort of what I go for.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you've got varying degrees between 70s and 80s, I think.
Oh, okay.
You haven't worn any plaid or anything yet, so you haven't got the 90s grunge scene going.
No, not really.
Okay.
Nah.
Yeah, so we'll start there then with music.
Mhm.
Because when you first started coming to training, you were very quiet. I mean, you're quiet anyway, but you were like really, really quiet. You were shy quiet. Now,
Yeah.
now you're just too cool for fucking school quiet. You know.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, you can have it. But yeah, so when you came in, it was very, very obvious straight away that you were like really into your metal music. You were considerably less tatted then.
I
But
think
you had a few.
I was 17 when I started, wasn't I?
No, you weren't.
I think I
No,
must have been.
Don't say. No, you weren't.
I was, yeah. So I wasn't old enough to get tattooed when I started.
Wow, I'm old. I forget though that you were in and out though with the training.
Well, yeah, mainly because of COVID.
Were you in before COVID?
Yeah, only for like maybe a month, I think. Then COVID.
Wow.
Mhm.
See, that's the scary thing is that's like 5 years ago now.
I know. I realized that the other day, and it was like,
It still is like, it's weird because I can't remember much. Weirdly, I can't remember much before it. Like I can't remember the majority of what the training group was at the time, who was there, what we were doing. I do remember. I remember just before we stopped, like because it was like, oh, we'll see you in 2 weeks, and 2
Yeah.
years later. But yeah, it's a weird one to remember that, and there's more and more of that kind of stuff with the COVID thing, and they're always talking about like it changed everyone in a weird way, the way we remember stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah, I might.
Time's just not the same anymore.
No,
It just moves differently since that.
just wait till you get older because it moves really fucking fast. But yeah, so you came in and you had like a very distinct look. You had the long hair, not so much of a beard then, but you had long hair.
No, I think I was just starting the beard.
Less tat, but you were very clearly into your music. And you've surprised me on some conversations with that because obviously, because you wear what you like a lot. So you've got like your Motorhead jacket,
Yeah,
and you're obviously wearing the Metallica shirt. And
here. Yeah, my jacket's just covered in bands. Just basically any band that I like, I put a patch on my jacket. So
just collecting them all.
pretty much, yeah. It's not even my only jacket, believe it or not.
I don't think I've ever seen you in another jacket.
No, the other one I wear to gigs. So
It's
I
a
don't wear it
gig
round about-
jacket. Okay,
yeah.
right. So it's just for gigs.
Yeah,
But yeah, so you've obviously been like really into your music now, and then over time, uh, because believe it or not, it doesn't talk much. It just sits there standing cool a lot of the time. But over time, you've surprised me because you brought up one day I had one of my weird tunes on that I listened to, and then you were like, "Oh, it's similar to Bad Omens."
was
Uh,
this when you put on the health?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and you were like, "It was similar to Bad Omens." I'm like, "Oh, right, so it's not just the 70s and 80s
No, I
metal."
like modern stuff as well.
And then you mentioned how you were going to, I think it was last year. It was either last year or recently because my brain scrambled. But you mentioned how you were going to a gig and you were like, "Oh yeah, Sleep Token, Sleep Token." And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Sleep Token's relatively new." So I was like, "He's not just a vintage man."
So that was you're correct in both because I saw them last year. I went to Germany with my
Yes,
friend, and I saw them, and that's when I saw Health. So
you saw Health Live.
yeah,
You
they
son of
they were supporting them.
son of a bitch.
It's funny because I'm not even that big a fan.
You
Like
can't you
they're
can't
good.
sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I want to see Health," and you haven't, Dave. And do you know what? I didn't even want to see them.
Sorry, not like they were good, but I'd never like listened to them beforehand.
Mm.
I've only listened to like a few songs since, mostly collaborations and stuff that they've done with other bands.
See their latest album.
Mhm.
What could be wrong? Is it Rat Wars?
I'm not sure.
Their latest album is to me is peak.
Okay.
So if you're going to listen to them, that album,
Okay.
because they're really, if you go back and listen to their stuff, like they've been on the go since the mid 90s. They
Wow.
were more punk, believe it or not, and then it was like punk mixed with industrial, and then it was just really experimental, and then the album with the collaborations was the album prior to this one,
Mhm.
but Rat Wars to me is when that's like they've found their sound now. It seems to be at the moment one of their most popular albums as well.
Okay.
But
I thought they were quite modern. I didn't realize they were from like.
oh yeah, they've been going a long time.
Mm.
The way that I found out about Health was, oh man, oh yeah, that really hurts again. See, I told you, I knew I was going to have a conversation here with you and remember how old I am. So I'm a huge fan of the Max Payne games.
Okay.
You might need to lean forward again.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Max Payne games. You ever? You're not really a gamer, are you?
Not particularly. No.
Right. So I grew up with the Max Payne games. And I absolutely love them. They're just basically uh, stylized shooters, like the old. I'm going to make more references you're not going to understand. John Woo movies. Oh, you uncultured swine.
Sorry.
John Woo is a Asian director that does like one of his most famous ones was like Hard Boiled. It's basically like gritty cop noir, lots of like slow motion,
Okay.
dive shooting squibs that are just mental. The dude's like chests explode open kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's like the godfather of that kind of stuff. Um, oh no, we have a screensaver. I'm gonna keep turning that off. So many tech issues already. Yeah, he's like the godfather of that. So the games were based on that, and originally they were on PC, and I had a really crap Dell for my first PC. So I fell in love with Max Payne. Max Payne 2, I remember picking that up by surprise in Woolworths. Woolworths?
I remember Woolworths.
You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. Right.
I remember when they shut. I think it was Primary 2.
Number 2.
I think.
Oh god. Oh no. But yeah, so I have Max Payne 2. Oh man, I am. and then nothing for many, many years. And Max Payne 3 came out on the PlayStation 3. And the entire soundtrack, the cinematic score, and any music that's in it is Health.
Oh, cool.
Which one is really weird because the Max Payne scores always like cellos and like cop noir and snow, and
Yeah.
it was always like this grim sort of sound. So to go into this industrial sounding, ethereal, weird, experimental, um, and because you're not a gamer, you won't know this, but I'm sure a lot of people, all five that watch this, there's a point in the third video game, and if you play it for the first time ever and you're really enjoying it, right? In the last act, it's in an airport, a big empty airport. It stays with you for the rest of your life. It's that good, and it's because of one song.
Really?
It's Tears by Health, and it hits out of nowhere, and it's very cinematic, and it's like the big crescendo firefight. And all I remember was that you go through the door, the camera follows them through the door, and it opens into the wide airport waiting area. And that tune hits, and it plays the entire time you're in this section. It's hard as well, but it plays, and then the lyrics suddenly key in at certain points, and it's it's one of the things is like how like a song can really make a movie at points. It made the game. Um, so that's how I got into Health, was that one song.
Oh, cool.
And I obsessed over that song. I love that song. That
What'd you say it's
song,
called? Tears.
Tears, yeah. It also made it into Caithness Pro Wrestling.
Really?
Yeah. There was a. This is like really in the early days, really, really early days. There was a faction called Sons of Solomon.
I think that was before my
Oh,
time.
well before your time. No, 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 no. You would probably been diapers. But yeah, I used that song. I gave that song to them, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Cool.
Been very tempted. Twice it was almost the new Arkham one.
Really?
Yeah, twice. So, but I was like, I can't use something that's been used prior. Got to be an artist and move forward.
That's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, so you managed to go to Germany and travel,
Mm-hmm.
and you would say so, but you went to go see Sleep Token.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard Sleep Token songs. I've got a couple on my Spotify playlist. So I have one question to ask you:
Okay.
are they as good as they look when they're live? Like, is it as good as it looks on some of the clips I've seen?
Yeah, they're really good.
Because that came second to me. I listened to the music, I would really get into it, and then I didn't know anything about the vessel stuff.
They've got a whole they've got so much lore. I've not really looked much into it, but
Oh,
there's like a whole backstory and stuff.
yeah, the imagery and like the makeup and prosthetics and the costumes were
Yeah.
mental.
Well, when I saw them in Germany, it was just Vessel, like the lead singer. He's got like the mask and a cloak sort of thing. Well, it's not quite a cloak.
It's a
anymore.
veil, isn't it? Like a hooded veil.
He's got
thing.
like I
Yeah.
think when they first started, it was more like a cloak.
Mm.
Now it's more like a veil, like you say, and like robes and that. And then the other members of the band just dressed all in black with the Sleep Token logo on their face. Whereas now, it was only a couple of weeks after I saw them in Munich, they changed up their look, and now the rest of the band have like painted jackets and stuff, and it looks punk, but like, well, it looks a bit punk. It's like,
I think maybe it's an album thing because they've just released a new album as well. Is it like a?
possibly. I was kind of wondering if it would be for the next album because their last album, Take Me Back to Eden, was out last summer, I think.
Yeah, they've been around for a while now. Like yeah. It's just summer, and now they've blown up.
Yeah, I think it was one song in particular got popular on TikTok, which just sort of got them really popular.
Yeah, they've got a good sort of catalog in their album where they've got like the heavier stuff, which
Yeah.
actually I lean away from.
Really?
Because I love heavy music. I love all types of music. Like as you probably heard with my Spotify list,
Yeah.
I will listen to anything, everything that resonates or catches me or something just ticks my boxes. But the heavier Sleep Token stuff, I love the music, but the older I get, I can't do screaming. Which is
okay.
not like when I was younger and like my parents would be like, "You're listening to scream music." I'm like, "Fuck you." It's not like that. It's not like I'm like, "You shouldn't be screaming." I like Slipknot. Like I think Corey can scream like a madman. I like screamo stuff as well. But the older I get, I just kind of I look for something that's a bit more textured.
That's fair. Yeah.
I sometimes think, not always, but I just sometimes think that some songs are like, oh, this is really good. The production's amazing on this. Oh, what a riff, what melody. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, what a hook on that chorus. And then I'm like, it didn't need it. It's not that I don't like the screaming. I just always think that it didn't need it.
Yeah, that's fair. I know what you mean with that in general. I can't really think of an example with Sleep Token in particular where I would feel that way.
I think it's just because I'm dipping my toe. Like I
Possibly.
gravitate towards the softer ones, and then I was like, oh, actually, because I actually heard the softer ones first. I thought they were
Well,
like
most of them are quite soft. Like
I
they're
thought they were like
very.
a pop thing, like
They've. Yeah, they. To be honest, I wouldn't really call them a metal band in general.
progressive.
Maybe because like they do, like they change genre a lot in like per song.
Yes,
Like a lot of their songs will start out like quite mellow, quite sad, and then it'll go into maybe like you say, a pop first or like rapping or something. Well, maybe not quite rapping, but
they're
like
very like what's the old term? Concept. Like you used to get concept albums. They're like a
yeah,
concept band
definitely.
because of the lore.
Yeah. Well, the first song on their first album, like, and then the last song on their latest album, like you can listen to them one after the other, and like I only realized this quite recently, which made me feel like a bit of a noob, but they like connect, like the songs sort of connect with each other, like
Yes,
lyrics wise, and like there's like a sort of riff bit at the end of that song, which connects to the intro of the first song. I don't know if that makes sense, but
oh no, it does. Like I used to listen to Nine Inch Nails,
mm,
and particularly the Downward Spiral album. You must have heard Closer.
yeah,
Right, so you know at the end of Closer, there's that piano where it drops, it goes dun, 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 dun. It's a simple note progression. It plays somewhere in each song on the album,
oh cool,
and sometimes it's really difficult to pick it out. But there's been even in later years, I can't remember what album it is, but he released a song, and in the background, the bass was doing that note progression. It always comes back in some way. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
I like that. It's almost like Easter eggs, like in the music.
is it an Easter egg or is it just that they ran out of note progression?
Well, I do sometimes wonder, like.
But I would dare say with Sleep Token, it's
I would think that's on purpose.
yes.
Maybe
I
they
would
were
dare
just like
say.
in the studio and they were like, "Hey, this might be cool. I can't be bothered coming up with something
But
else."
you used that on track 5, like, they won't fucking know
Just
it.
pass it off like you knew what you were doing all along.
Like,
But yeah,
if they've got it to track 10, they're with us anyway.
so yeah, like they'll do some sort of like rap or pop first, and then they might have like a breakdown, go back to the male stuff, and then have another breakdown or something,
Yeah.
and like or end the song with screams and stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
some songs, like there's one song called Vor, which is probably my favorite song, and it's just screams all the way through pretty much, with a couple of mellow bits in it.
What was the first Sleep Token one I heard? Alkaline.
That's a good one, yeah.
That was the first one I heard
Mhm.
because it was the
That's quite a popular one, I think.
yeah. I would imagine so because it's quite easy to get into. But
Yeah.
it was the like I like as I said like with music I like textures, and I'm really I like genre melding stuff because when I play a bit with music I kind of try and like take something that shouldn't be and mix it,
Mm.
and I really like synths that are quite unique, but it's not so much I like synthwave. I like listening to it, but anything that's a program synth that's got like a good texture in it, you can tell it was like molded. Alkalines, I don't even know if that's played through a guitar because it's very it sounds plucky.
The chuggy parts are, but
It's
I
it's
think I know what.
it's the open notes. It's almost like a bell, like a bong,
Yeah.
and it's
Mm.
very distorted and raspy. That
I'm,
caught me.
I'm
And
trying to even think like live. I don't think that's a guitar, or at least live it's not.
no,
But it might be like, I don't know. I always thought it was like a keyboard or something.
it could be.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's just a really unique sounding synth, and like that pulled me into it, and then I just went down the rabbit hole with it.
Mm.
I've not like heavily listened to any of their albums, but I've got a good few of like what pops up on my Spotify suggested.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I was surprised with the whole Sleep Token thing how you went into it. So you went to Germany for that.
Mm.
and that was another thing that surprised me. Not in a bad way. So take it as a compliment. But it was like we were doing training and stuff, and slowly getting to know you over time, and um, you know, break my heart if you wish. But I kind of felt like I was like, if I was a teenager, I'd get on with you. Like you remind me, like, oh fuck, I'm so old. Oh, there's bits of you that reminds me of me when I was younger, because I had long hair and I was known for wearing like leather trousers and stuff, and I was like a metalhead, and then I went metalhead into goth, and then I was just like me, which is a fucking mess. Um, but I was like, oh, you're kind of like into the similar things that I was into.
Yeah, I've noticed like quite often we talk about things and it's like,
Oh,
yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
stuff
Well, do
like
you
that.
know what? It could have gone two ways then. Because when you're younger and you meet someone that likes the same shit as you, it doesn't always work out. That it's
Yeah,
like
sometimes you get like defensive
it's
over your
fucking mine.
interest.
I found it first.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You meet a lot of people like that, don't you?
Sleep Token's my special band. I found that they mean more to me than they do to you. I get the nuances you don't. Fuck you. Yeah, but as I got to know you more, and then you're like, can't come in the training next week. Well, that's fine. What you doing? I got a bit nosy about like, what you doing then that you're not coming in to wrestle? I'm going to Germany. Like you fucking what? Like I just
I suppose it's quite random, isn't it?
well yes and no, but when you tell me like I'm going to Germany to see a music festival, absolutely. I mean you've got music written all over you.
Hmm.
But it was because you were so like you're so quiet and laid back. I'm like I can't see you traveling. And
Really?
since then you go everywhere now. You travel quite a lot. Like
Past couple of years, I have travelled quite a bit.
you go to like Bloodstock,
Yeah,
which
plus,
I've never had a chance. I've wanted to ask you. Obviously, it's a music festival, but what the fuck is Bloodstock?
so you know what Download Festival is? Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
it's like alternative music, lots of metal and rock mainly, but then also like punk and
So it's just
emo
like a
music.
heavier
It's
download.
it's like a heavier download. Yeah, it's mostly just metal music with maybe a couple of rock bands thrown in,
Yeah.
and it's a lot smaller. I don't know what the capacity is for each, but like downloads maybe.
Well, it's bigger because it's commercialized.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's a huge brand now.
it's commercialized. I can't remember what the capacity is. Like
Big.
it's very
The
big.
capacity is big.
Like many thousands of people. Like tens of thousands. Whereas Bloodstock's 2,000, I think.
Oh wow, that's a
So it's
very intimate
really
compared to
small.
that.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've only been 2 years to Download and Bloodstock. And Download's great. I really like it, but I think I prefer Bloodstock because it's smaller. Um, like you say, it's not intimate, but there's more. It's almost like a community because like you'll pass the same people
Yeah,
multiple
yeah, yeah,
times
yeah.
throughout the day,
Well,
and even if
that's
you never speak to them, it's
see,
like
I've never gone to concerts and stuff, and I've loved music my whole life. I'm an avid music lover, but it's just not something that interested me. And it's
right.
weird because I grew up where like I was really and I was in high school when like Scuzz and Krang TV came on,
Okay,
and I always
that's sort of how I got into it.
yeah,
To
and
be
remember
honest,
when they used to like go to download and they there was one year I think it was Scuzz TV did phenomenal coverage of download. They were showing
really,
live shows and they were doing interviews and
I wish there was still something like that nowadays. To be
oh,
honest,
well, now it's the internet, but you got like a paywall
yeah.
on it.
Hmm.
But yeah, and I just never. Then I never understood why, but obviously now, knowing that I'm autistic, that's a big part of it. I just can't handle it.
That's fair.
It's just makes me uncomfortable. The thought of that many people, that much noise, that much sensory overload.
Yeah.
Um,
You also have to consider the fact that people can't always shower, so there's a lot of smells.
but then I've got a thing as well, which I briefly spoke about where Ricky is. I've got a thing about alcohol. Which I might go into later. But it's just a bit much for me mindset wise. But speaking to Danger,
Mm.
Danger, someone else that performs with us is Connor Rose, who will get it easier this episode and won't have the absolute piss ripped at him constantly. That was RJ. But yeah, he kind of like I think he had a 12-year straight run
Yeah, he
going to
doesn't.
download.
Yeah, I know he didn't go last year, but
He was devastated. He broke it. He was devastated.
Yeah,
But he
but he
tells me,
tries
like,
to go every year, doesn't he?
obviously he goes down with the same sort of folk every sort of every,
Yeah.
but he always mentions how he meets up with very similar people every year, and I'm like, oh well, there's the community bit, which
Yeah.
I think's really cool.
Mm.
Obviously knowing Alex now as well.
Yeah, she goes as well.
goes as well,
I
and it's the
saw
same
her.
thing. She's got her people and community and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I've made some like I said, it's
Oh,
only
you crossed paths last year, didn't
yeah,
you?
me and Alan
Scoops.
Scoops. We bumped into Alex as we arrived. So that was nice. And then
See, on that note,
yeah,
how bad did they fuck up Scoops?
how do you mean?
Or was he already half cut with it?
Well, to be fair, he did have a fill. So did I. But the worst part for Scoops wasn't even like the alcohol or getting drunk or hungover. It was the fact that everyone kept pissing on his tent. Or
No,
we weren't pissing on his tent. We were pissing next to it and telling him that we were. And then we had this friend.
Hang on. No, rewind before you even move on. We weren't pissing on his tent.
No, of
but
course
we were
not.
pissing next to it. But we were winding him up anyway that we were pissing on it. You're still pissing next to it. Like,
Well, I personally didn't piss on it.
oh no, you were innocent. You were an innocent member of this party.
I walked past, sort of like, so his tent's like here. I walked maybe to the back end of his tent and pissed into the open.
Do you know what? I think you're telling a lie, right? I don't think you. I believe you that I don't think you pissed next to his tent. You're so tall that you go for a pee. You would have been the rain that would have been pissing over his tent.
Possibly, yeah.
Boys, it's a light drizzle.
We had one friend that came, because there's a big group of us as well that meet up, and this one guy, we call him Big Les. I don't know if you've
Big
watched.
Stephen Big Les.
I don't know. There's like a YouTube series called The Big Les Show, and when we first met this guy, we were like, "You look just like Big Les," so we just call him Big Les. I don't even think I can remember his real name. It's
Does it really matter at times?
yeah, exactly. He's just Big Les. So he was only there for a day. We were sitting in camp, and he was like, "Oh, I really need to take a piss," and I was like, "See that over there? That's Alan's tent. That's the piss tent." So he went over to, and he was actually about to piss on his tent, like unzipped his trousers and everything. Alan spots this, runs up to body tackle him. Les just doesn't move. Like Alan just does nothing.
Just like a mold of plasticine hitting a brick wall, just splat.
Exactly, yeah. So Les zips up his trousers. He takes the time to do that at least. Just body slams Alan onto the ground, lands onto one of his testicles, just stands up, goes, "I'm Big Les." Just comes back to camp while Alan's on the floor writhing in pain. So that was poor.
So he sold it, is what you're telling me.
Yeah,
well
really
done.
well.
Did he smile when he was doing it?
He didn't smile at all.
That'll be the first time he's not smiled when he's getting beaten up.
I think so, yeah. That was possibly the highlight from the camp annex at Download. And he'll like confirm this. He looks back on that memory fondly. I like
fondly.
Yeah,
oh, like,
I like to think so anyway.
I think Scoops needs a hug after that. Good lord.
Yeah.
And by the way, you just totally undid your innocent party there by actually telling Big Les that's where we piss. So you initiated the body slam, basically.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I mean,
I could take a lot of blame.
You didn't tell Scoops to go and tackle the guy.
No, he just took the initiative to defend his tent.
I mean, he was defending his territory.
Mm-hmm.
He was defending his land.
Yeah. So yeah, like I've made a lot of really good friends at Download. Like me and Alan are in the same sort of group. We've got a group chat on Facebook now. Well, that's how I met them all before I even went to Download. It was a Facebook group. We got put onto a random chat, and for some reason I started interacting. Then we met up at Download, and they've become like my best friends the past couple of years. So
that's good.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I think it's great when you have something that you have a group of friends, but you also have a group of friends that are like really into something that brings them together.
Yeah.
Because I do think there's a difference. There's a difference between being like, all right, I'm pals with someone, and then like pals where you bond over something.
Definitely, yeah.
And
And that's why I've traveled a lot the past like 2 years, because we meet up every now and again. Like obviously after Download, then a few of us also went to Bloodstock. Went to Birmingham because it was one of their birthdays, so we had a night out in Birmingham. Then November we met up in Glasgow. February we met up in Glasgow again.
I know where all your wages are going.
exactly, yeah. Um, well, I'm under 22, so it's free bus travel.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then I think after that was Download, then Bloodstock, then after Bloodstock, I think there was another thing in Glasgow, possibly. Um, then I went to Newcastle, and then just a few weeks ago, I was in Bristol and Cardiff to see.
That's a lot of travel.
Yeah, but I actually
And is this
really
all
enjoy it
like
now.
is this usually a gig involved as well?
Normally, yeah.
Yeah.
There's the Newcastle one was just meet up, um, just get a laugh. But like Bristol, I was there. Me and my friend Wes went to see a band, Obituary, which are like death metal, old school death
I've
metal.
heard of it, yeah.
Yeah. Glasgow in February last year. We went to see Bat Sabbath. Have you heard of Cancer Bats?
I haven't yeah.
Yeah, so they've got a Black Sabbath tribute band. So it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah, normally there's a gig involved.
Yeah.
Just for an excuse to go down. But we
And,
normally
and
try
the
and meet
Scoops
up.
get body slammed on every occasion.
Well, he's never come to any meetups actually,
Oh.
because he's normally working.
Well, it's no surprise. Oh, look, oh, he's in the toilet. Yeah, there's Scoop's shoes there. Just don't worry that he's in them. Just fucking go. Oh,
Piss directly on him.
I'm seeing a whole new side to you, Steve. Whole new
Sorry.
side to you. An evil instigator of peeing on of urination on other people.
Should turn that into a new wrestling gimmick.
The pisser. Oh god. Oh no, don't piss on me, please. I mean, there's an OnlyFans there for you.
Possibly, yeah.
You know,
if I ever
more
run out
more
of
money for
funds,
more gigs.
more money, more gigs, more travel.
So yeah, obviously I've mentioned a few times how I've seen you and learn more about you through training. So we'll actually go down that route then for a wee bit. We'll talk about the training, which we'll have to go in stages because before we go into talking about the training, and again, this is another subject. It's just going to make me feel old. So you used to go to the shows before you joined training.
Yeah, well, it was the CPW shows that actually got me into wrestling. Like, I didn't really grow up on it.
You weren't into wrestling before.
Not particularly, no.
That's like the worst introduction to wrestling.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. Yeah, so when I was in high school, they used to do sort of like group trips to wrestling shows.
It was the teacher
Yeah,
that you contacted us the first time, and it went so well that we would contact him, and it got to the point where we would badger quite a lot because
really. It was a big group for a
was
while.
busy.
Sometimes it was
yeah,
smaller.
and
yeah.
he was busy. He's a teacher,
Yeah.
so it was a case of we couldn't get direct contact because again, teachers can't have direct social media and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we had to like try and organize it, and it was a big thing every time. There was at one point there was 12 plus.
Yeah.
For a group size, which was quite
I think
big
that was like when I started going, there was about 12 of us that went.
Yeah.
So he was like a child support worker rather than a teacher.
Mhm.
So it was a good reason to get like kids out of the house and stuff. like,
Yeah,
on
I mean,
weekends.
it was really really good seeing that same group every time
Mhm.
because genuinely we actually in the back, obviously you know all the terminology now because you're backstage now yourself, which is
It's quite surreal, to be honest.
it's surreal for me when I stop and think about it. But we used to be like, "There's the marks."
Really.
In a good way, because you really got all of you really got, Kyle got into it, like Kyle's-
His cousin James did as well.
oh.
He actually annoyed me, to be honest. Like,
but they were so loud.
yeah.
And like Kyle was always the sort of the one where I could always pick him out because of the glasses and that, and just he's quite tall too, obviously.
He's the same height as me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was just really, really good to see that group the whole time. And I can still remember, and I found it, but I don't know where it is. I don't have it on file anywhere. But I did see it. The photo that you took in the ring with the whole group.
I remember that. Yeah, I look so different there.
Yeah.
I think I'm like right at the edge, if not cut out, but I'm
You're
clean shaven.
You're very different.
Very large.
Yes.
My hair's still long, but like frizzy outwards, puffy.
Yeah, your hair went like almost afro.
Well, that was when I was first growing out, and I didn't condition it or anything, so
Just kind of went wild.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
that was, on that note, so obviously, like, I don't mean it in a rude way. You were a lot. bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it a conscious decision, or did you just suddenly like the metabolism decided, hey, we're gonna go this way now?
I think a bit of both, to be honest, because I was always quite big. Like growing up, I was always quite chubby.
I was a chonk when I was younger. I had like I was on steroids at one point.
Really?
Yeah, I had a lot of like health issues like asthma and stuff. So
Uh,
I got really big.
yeah, I was quite large, and then obviously I was tall as well. Um, and I always wanted to lose weight, but I never dieted or anything. I was partly because I was a bit embarrassed to admit that I was fat and that. So when I was little, I didn't want to like ask my mom out. Like I wouldn't say to her, "Oh, I want to go on a diet,"
Yeah.
or anything
I
like
don't
that.
think any kid should.
Nah.
I don't think any kid should ever utter that word.
Mm.
Uh,
So like it wasn't until I was about 16 or so, and I got really into like drinking water and going out long walks. Like
You're a hell of a walker.
I walked a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all over town. I think that sort of did it. So I lost a bit of weight when I was like 15, 16, and then in lockdown, especially, I started going out even longer walks. Like I would walk from Thurso to Castletown, or
Wowzers.
like out Thurso East and just walk for miles, and also drink a lot of water. So then over lockdown, I lost quite a bit of weight because I would also do like push-ups and stuff in the house and that to try. And I never really noticed it until recently. I looked at some photos from myself in 2020. I was like, I didn't realize I'd gotten skinny. Like I knew I had lost weight, but at one point I was quite skinny.
Yeah,
Whereas
you
now
were.
I've got a belly again, and
Yeah,
like I'm
well,
quite bulky.
because
But
I did say to you a couple of weeks ago, which I had an autistic moment in training where I said something to you, and then I was like, oh wait, was that one of the moments where I've said something where it's not appropriate? But I was trying to be nice with it, and I meant it complimentary. Was remember I said like you were doing your rolls and warm up, and I was
oh
like,
yeah, hmm
it's like you got a bit of beef in yours, you know, you could bulk up.
I think I do remember.
And
Yeah,
I meant it in a nice way. Was like I
yeah.
was meaning
I
your
took it in a good way. Yeah,
yeah,
because like the past few months, especially, I have been trying to work out a lot more.
yeah.
So I did take that in a good way.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, yeah, I have a confession,
Okay.
right? So you were so baby faced when you were younger, right? I genuinely couldn't figure out at points if you were a boy or a girl.
I think there was a couple times when I was like maybe 13 or 14 that people did mistake me.
There was it wasn't bad, like, but then somebody was like, "No, it's a guy." I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was
Yeah,
like, I was just like, "Oh, I felt so bad."
yeah. That's
Um,
part of why I grew a beard.
oh, just look right, mate. But yeah, I mean, you used to come to shows, and that seems to be a sentence I say a lot now for myself, which is really surreal. It's like, oh, I used to go to shows when I was younger, blah blah. What made you go from wanting to be in the crowd to in the ring? Especially if we were your introduction to wrestling.
I don't really know, to be honest. It was a same child support worker. He sort of suggested it, and like at the time, I was like a hermit. Like I didn't speak to
Yeah.
people at all. So I don't really know what was that made me want to. But me and my brother did it because he also came to the shows, and yeah, I don't know. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah. I
I
always
think
actually, I always use your brother as a good example, because I don't think it's a bad thing. But whereas you tried the training, and you really got into it, and you really enjoyed it, and you really kind of like your mindset was like, I really want that. Your brother went the other way, where he was like, I don't want to know.
yeah,
Like I don't want to know
I think he
anything.
did say like I don't think he said it would spoil it, but he
Oh, he
sort of
did.
said it
He
would.
said it to me. He was like, I feel like it would spoil it,
All right, okay,
and he just didn't like no more.
yeah,
And I was
which
ah,
is
that's
quite
fine.
fair. Yeah,
Yeah. I think again it was. I'm glad that you kept it on, obviously for obvious reasons. Um,
I am too, to be honest.
but you really over the years, I say years, but we you moved away at one point very briefly,
Yeah, for a few months I was in Inverness.
and then obviously the COVID hit, and then
Well,
lockdown.
Inverness was after COVID.
Was it
Yeah, so I
right? So it
started
was
training when I was in high school, um, for like a handful of weeks. Then COVID hit, and then started up again.
and then it
And
was away.
I don't think I had like you or Susan or anyone on Facebook, so I don't think
No.
and by that point I'd left school, so I don't think anyone like let me know that No, wait, actually, I think Susan did message me. She must have found.
Yeah, no, I think you
Yeah.
told us. You definitely told us you were moving away.
Yeah, because after COVID, I think Susan messaged me saying that yous were starting up again.
Yeah, which we
Asking if I'd
didn't know
want to.
was going to happen.
No.
We were very close to not.
Yeah,
It was like down to the wire of no.
really.
Yeah, it was that close. Like a lot of folk don't realize how close it was to not coming back.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. Uh, like for me personally, it doesn't make me money. I've said that, and I tell the truth. It does. I'm not making. I've always done it for the community. It supports itself.
Mm.
Um, do I might maybe like, oh, that was a good show, and I might like get a wee treat out of it or something, but it's not like I'm not raking it in. What it costs to put a show on is basically what it gets because it's a small community.
Yeah.
We pull the same sort of number roughly.
It's more or less the same people,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and well, no, not so much because it switches every year because you've got the teens, late teens that come in, and then they have that period where everybody you won't because you got into it differently. But most people that watch wrestling are like heavy into wrestling as a kid.
Mm.
Then you get to the high school bit and be like, oh, this is kind of like a dirty thing that might get me in trouble. So you peter off, and then when you get to like 18, 19, you either get back into it or it's in your mid-20s and then you're there for life.
Mm.
So we see kind of like the changes in generations quite a lot, but you do get through a year to 2 years your core group.
Yeah.
But it was so close because lockdown things still cost. There was things that there were still outgoings,
Right.
and then obviously I had to. I was actually making no income at that point at all. Because due to just before lockdown, the November before the March 23rd, 22nd lockdown, the November before that, I was actually having a mental breakdown
Oh no.
and I was told to stop everything. And then I was told to unregister as a business. So then I wasn't getting any income at all.
Really?
Yeah. And I wasn't on any benefits of nothing. Lockdown hit, I had no income.
Oh,
I had nothing.
wow.
And I don't think people realize there's a difference between having little money or being poor, and then there's a difference between I have no money. And I remember halfway through lockdown, like the big sort of meat of it, I cut my finger and I needed a plaster and I didn't have any. And it just hit me. I was like, I haven't even got my money to go buy a plaster. I broke down crying.
Oh.
It was really bad. I had no income at all. And it started getting to the point where I had to eat into what was for the next show. Then I sold the ring and I bought a new ring at
Yeah.
the same time. So I switched that round. So there was a little bit of extra, but then again, that very quickly disappeared. And it got to the point where it was like, we've got nothing to open with. So it was so close. And then it was mentally, I was like, I was desperate to get back into wrestling. And then there was a point where, well, maybe it's time to stop it then. You have that kind of thought thing. So it was literally down to the wire. And I think I remember it was a case that I said to Susan, I was like, if we can't get back in this week, then my mind's telling me, no, we're
Really?
done. I'll sell the ring and that's it. And luckily enough, we got in that week.
Yeah.
It was literally just that close.
Wow.
But yeah, so you went on a tangent. So you went away and then came back and then
Like
briefly and then away again. Well, we had lockdown.
lockdown.
Yes, and then
Came back for a few weeks, or maybe like a month or two.
Yeah, it wasn't
went-
long. There was a couple of sessions. It was a couple.
Yeah.
Um,
I think. Yeah.
and then you came
Then
back again.
left. Came back at the start of 2021.
And then over time, you've done your training.
Mhm.
You've
I feel like I was very slow to start with because we had to work around my height a lot. I was very. You always described it
Yeah.
as bandy legs.
Bambi legs.
Yeah.
Little Bambi legs. Yeah, some people that are I've always said, been honest with you straight, is that some people are quite have it's usually people do sports and are tall. They've got a sort of like, I don't know if it's a subconscious thing, they've got a handle on their height. So they know how to shift their body weight and deal with the extra limage. Limage? Is that a word? Limage?
It is now.
It is your limage.
My limbs.
Check out my limage.
Yes.
Taking it to the limage. Oh no. That was bad.
Wow.
But but yeah, so you obviously, it was the Bambi legs and the slinky.
Slinky
Because
as
when you
well.
did a forward roll, your
It
first
was like,
half would go, and then the legs would
yeah.
follow after. It was like,
Mm.
but and over time, I wouldn't say you were slow at all. Everyone goes at their own pace. I've always said that to every new trainee that comes in, and I firmly believe that some people can do things straight away, and some people take longer to do it. I sometimes think taking longer to get a handle on something is better because you're honing it for longer.
That's true,
You're
I
you're
suppose.
doing the repetition more. So whereas somebody like something simple, then we'll just say a forward roll standing to your feet, right? Somebody that can do that straight away, they're going to move on to the next thing really quickly because like, all right, I've mastered that. See somebody that struggles with it, will take the time to right. I've got to get this. I've got to get it right. But then they take more time to kind of seep in like why being able to get to your feet from a forward roll is more important and how can I use it. So when I finally can do this, how can I use it? Um, and it's the same with anything else physically you're doing it. If you take longer to do it, I think you learn more from it.
Yeah.
You're digesting it longer,
Mm.
so you get more from it. But yeah, you did training for a good while, and you then went into what we've got now is the Harbinger.
Yes.
I did not give you that name.
I think you did.
I didn't.
I came up with a long list.
I didn't have Harbinger.
Did you not?
No,
Okay.
I gave you other ones, but Harbinger wasn't in it because that's a word that was not in my vocabulary.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember I was like, oh, there's this, there's that. We definitely decided on it was the something.
I wanted it to be this something, yeah.
Yeah, you were like this. And that's one thing I will say actually that's a really good positive and different with your cell is you can have people that are really passionate and have this sort of like mindset of like, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And sometimes it doesn't work. You have to compromise.
Mm.
Usually, if you're training to be a wrestler, it's good to have an idea, but it's good to be open to change and be malleable because what you learn physically might not fit in with this character.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be like, I'm going to be the next high flyer. I'm amazing. I can't even do a flip. Like I'm not very agile in that sense. So my style went totally different. If anything, I wanted to be like my two favorite wrestlers when I was younger was my favorite one was Mankind,
Oh yeah.
Mick Foley, and then Kane. So I liked monsters.
Mm.
I'm short. I guess I'm never gonna be a monster. Like I can hit a mean choke slam. Like I like but and I could do like loads of variations of it. I love doing the set out one and everything. Doesn't look right when I do it, so I can't be a monster. So being malleable, which you kind of were, because I said these names and then you just went Harbinger. I was like, wasn't one I was keen on at the time.
Really?
I just because I didn't get it, I was like, I don't even know what a Harbinger is. I had to Google it. Oh, okay.
Just a
Um,
word that sounds cool.
and I didn't think that you'd put as much thought into it as you did, because then I was like, we were talking about image, and I remember the conversation, and when you just suddenly came out with it, oh, let less goth, even though your clothes are quite gothic, but
I'm
it's less
pretty
that,
much big freaky goth, isn't
but
it?
it's like a bit more eldritch.
I wanted, yeah.
And it's difficult. I think we still have it in our mind the Eldridge thing, but it's
We've
difficult to
not really
relate.
portrayed it at all, have we?
It's difficult to relate it to the ring because
Mhm.
at the moment you're still kind of in your debut phase.
Yeah.
And we did the wee storyline where you battered me for a year straight. Cheers for that. Who wrote that shit?
No idea.
Every show. Something bad happened. And then obviously they revealed that, haha, we're actually together.
Yeah.
When makes no sense. Wrestling. Um,
Nobody
and
questioned it.
no,
Actually, one of my friends asked if I was mind controlling you, but I was like,
maybe. We haven't written it yet, so
well, they could change it, yeah, I suppose, but
but yeah. So we went down that route, and then I agree. Like we haven't really got the Eldridge bit in yet.
not really.
That might come in later.
Yeah, I
We-
suppose because your gimmick at the moment has this sort of possession sort of vibe, so you could sort of relate it a
Mate,
bit.
you called me Beetlejuice, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. When we were filming one of the promos in the infamous cupboard, you were very
The cupboard.
your voice came across like
It did
Beetlejuice.
go Beetlejuice. And do you know what I was thinking? I was like, some of the movements, the comedy movements, were very Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I was like, I actually take that as a compliment.
I think it works.
I just definitely didn't think Beetlejuice. But I was like, oh, there's a wee bit of Beetlejuice there. but yeah, so you've managed to go from, as we discussed, like you did your debut, and then we both, well, I kind of explained it to you, and you took it on so well, was that you're going to be an attraction to begin with because your height. That's the only thing people are going to see to begin with is
Yeah.
big scary dude, so tall. And I
Yeah, it
think
worked in my favor that my like after the debut at the end of 2020, what year are we in?
it was
At
last
the
year.
end of 2023,
Yes, it
and
was.
then I
Yeah.
had my debut match against Struan at the start of 2024. I think that worked in my favor really well because he's so good at selling.
He put
So
you over like a beast,
yeah,
and like yeah, as you say, he is a really good seller,
mm,
and that was that was a unique kind of match because it was we right. It wasn't a squash because I don't like the term squash. We didn't want to squash,
mm,
but it was like an extended, uncomfortable mauling,
yeah,
and I actually I've discussed this with a few folk. I was very proud of the two of you, very, because during the day I was like, I wasn't stressed in a bad way. I was just like, oh, well, two of my younger sort of lads. You've not
because
had,
Struan had only been doing it for like a year at that point,
he
hadn't
only
he?
had 2 or 3 matches.
What was it?
He didn't have a lot under his belt. He had a couple like the rumbles and that and things, but he
Yeah,
had and he was working with Logan Smith and stuff.
yeah,
But I don't think there was that much, and I was like, oh, there's two of them on their own.
yeah. Because you helped us plan that match, didn't you?
I did,
You
but do you know what? I didn't have to. I didn't have to give you a lot. Like you'd come up with a match yourselves, which I was actually quite impressed with because when you were explaining it to me, I was like, yeah, this is actually what it should be. I only said change that, change this, change that, and it wasn't even me saying you have to change this, you have to change that. You took it on board, and then when I watched it back in the footage, I was like, oh my god, they listened to me. Maybe that's why I liked it because you listened.
maybe.
But it was no, both of you took on what I had said, but I don't feel like you took it on in the sense of like, oh, well, Dave said we had to do this. I think both of you understood the concept of what the match was,
Yeah,
and I think it was good. It was really good.
the best thing that showed at least one kid in the crowd understood it was because you can hear it when you watch it back. I think it's like the second time I pin Struan and take my foot off purposefully to continue battering him, and there a kid in the crowd just shouts, "Stop playing with your food and finish it!"
Yep, and
And that's
that is exactly how we discussed it. Was you were going to play with your food,
yeah,
and yeah. So when you hear how hard was it not to smile when you heard it?
yeah. I was
You're
like,
just like,
gonna,
oh, I was like, yes, we've got them, we've got them. But I would say so. Then you had like a couple of tag matches, and then a lot of it is story based of what we were doing.
yeah,
And I don't think you fully got to practice your craft, so to speak, until the last match you had, which was
really,
against Colton.
hmm
I mean, tag matches is one thing you got to do. I mean, you still had very unique tag matches where you didn't do anything for half of it because you were tagging.
Well,
We
the
were
first one was
enemies
us, so I just watched you and just stood still the whole time.
until you had to come in and do your thing.
Yeah,
Um, so I would actually say the last match you had with Colton was when you really kind of like I managed to see as well as a coach because I was concerned because sometimes like we only get like 2 hours of training and it's
yeah,
hard to get around everyone. Like it's a constant like when I say a stress, it's not like a "Oh, gotta go and do training." It's a stress as in like I wish I could just give everyone more time, and then I worry and then I freak out because everybody pays for their time, but you just can't get around everything.
yeah.
And then there's nights when we put a ring up and one thing might set us back an extra half hour to 40 minutes
hmm
trying to fix it, which is rare. But
It's happened.
yeah, and I was beginning to feel like when we were going into the last show that you were kind of a slight victim of that because we
Okay.
also remember we ran out of time because you were supposed to practice your stuff
Oh yeah.
and we ran out of time and I was like, oh my
What
god.
was that? Was one of the weeks when I was away in Glasgow. Um, so I was at training. I was going to get my stuff in, but I didn't, and I missed the last week of training before the show.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit stressed as well, to be honest. Not stressed, but a little bit anxious that I would have somehow developed ring rust from like 1 week being away.
I need to surprise yourself though, because I think one you got in your favour is because of your style and because of your size, and you got the most thing. Although we're trying to push the agility thing a bit more, which is
Yeah.
coming through
Mm.
because you're becoming more confident in the ring as well. But you were working Colton Davis.
And he was really good. Like when we were planning the match, him and Fraser came in as well, Fraser Garvin. Um, and they were talking me through a lot of stuff, and it was really helpful. A lot of the advice and stuff that they gave.
Yeah.
So
And Colton and Fraser have been really good with the group
Yeah.
when they were up there. Really, really good at just gently giving advice. Like they've never come in and be like, "Nah, I can't do anything." Although, let's be honest, Colton and Fraser in particular hates it when you get put in that.
Yeah, see, my second match, the one that we were in the tag match against Connor and Lad,
Yeah.
when I came backstage after that, they looked so disappointed in me.
Oh,
Like,
you took you off your feet.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand why, but we never did it to lessen the Harbinger
I
character.
don't
And
think it diminished me too much.
every time we've ever taken you off your feet or pinned you, you've done something
Well, that
explosive after. I mean, you
yeah,
kicked out with 3 people. Was it? No, it was two of them on you.
that was the two of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I've done that twice actually.
the pinball spot. We didn't need to do that. That
Mm,
shouldn't have been in it.
I think that could have stayed in it, but I kind of wish I'd done something else before it. Like, because what it was, they pinned me, I burst out, and then the pinball starts. Whereas I kind of wish I'd burst out and start hitting,
Yeah.
like battering them a bit before that. But I
Getting
mean,
your
it's
reps in, and
one of those
you
things,
can,
isn't it?
you can take control next time when you know that. And that's one thing as well. Actually, when we're talking about your Harbinger thing, is you're so early on in what you're doing. We're still finding feet with it. You're going less from an attraction wrestler to actually working more now because you can show off your skills and your skill set. And I feel I've lost my train of thought. My brain literally just went dead. Oh, joys. I did have a valid point there, and it was a good one.
Oh no.
And I was just too busy singing your praises. Where was I going? Oh, yes, that was it. Got it now. Right. So still early on, showing your skill set. But one thing that you've been quite good with is you're not in a negative way, but you're quite protective. Or even of your whole thing. Because you've said a few times where you're like, no, not doing that.
Really?
Yeah,
Have
not in
I?
a bad way. You've just been like, no, no.
Hmm.
And it's never been bad. It's usually when we're planning something and you're like,
I suppose, yeah.
that's
There's
your way of disagreeing. Is you're never like too forward. You're just like,
yeah. I know what you mean now that you say that. Yeah, I'm sort of like maybe. Yeah.
yeah, maybe, and you're good because you always have the counter like, maybe we
I'd
could do it
normally
this
try and
way.
find like a middle ground. Like
Yes.
if somebody else wants me to do something that I don't particularly agree with, but I don't know if my idea is too much, I'll try and find like a middle ground.
Compromise. That's what
Yeah,
it should be.
compromise.
You're
Yeah.
working together.
Mhm.
But you have been like really good in that way. So I feel like when people are disappointed that you've allowed yourself to come off your feet, I think if they knew that other side to you where you are actually quite protective of what you're doing, and you do think long term of like, well, I don't want to ruin what we've done here, and I don't want to weaken this or that. But you're never in the sense of like, I'm 7 foot tall, and I don't want to look weak. Like you've usually got a good reason as to why you don't want to do something. And I think I'm looking forward to this year because obviously you're getting better with each one, and I'm really looking forward to where we go with now because it's not going to be so much of the tagging anymore.
I suppose I'll get to actually
I
like not that I never did stuff before, but like I'll get to do more.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you're the booker is thinking about everyone and what they need, and not just story, but like what's the opportunities you can have and what will take you on that next step.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's time for a card,
Oh no.
and we went a good while without going to a
I
card.
actually forgot about them.
So did I. Too busy talking about.
Yeah, I went listening health, but I didn't really listen health. I know it's a band that you really like, Dave, but
That's what you sound like.
Okay.
Right.
I should have done this in character.
So, if you did it in character, it'd just be. That actually, before I do the card, now we mentioned that. The growls you make when you work as a harbinger are absolutely terrifying and guttural. And the weird thing is that you, before you even had the character of the harbinger,
That the growls came first, didn't they?
yeah, that's the first thing. That's the first thing, and you were just doing basic stuff. You were just learning strikes and work, and then all we heard was just. And I just remember like looking over at Danger. I'm like, and Danger was like, I was like, really? He's like, yeah, and it was, and I was like, yeah, this is good, and it's just it's you. It's something that's coming
It's just
natural.
it was just me like everyone grunts when they punch or when they get punched, but I don't know why mine just went sort of
So it's this growl monster.
was
It's monstrous.
like
we actually had to tell you to tone it down because you were fucking your throat. Remember? Remember
I
you?
have done I try and sort of do like vocal warm ups beforehand, but sometimes I forget and you can tell the difference. I think there was one show I forgot to do it and like it was
Yeah, your voice was almost gone.
yeah.
See
Um,
that's gonna be an image for people. It's big scary Harbinger and he's in the back,
I'm-
full garb, makeup's on, hair's over the top, and he's going. Me, 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 me.
It's not that's not quite what I do, but it's like I remember seeing like a video or something of like almost stretching your vocal cords or something. I can't even remember, but like basically I yawn a few times and then I sort of do low growls.
So that's what it is. I thought I was just boring you. Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good prep actually, because I don't know how you speak after it when you. As
Well,
I say,
that's the thing because because I recommended the scoops that he do it as well because sometimes after the show when he's doing the announcing he struggles to speak as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's been shouting all night to be fair, whereas I only do it for like
and yet it's a microphone which you can use to your advantage and not shout because it's not like Jack's wired you up to the entire room.
I think that was a hint. Scoops.
These podcasts and videos just turn into scoops hints
Sorry, scoops.
because I mentioned in one of my. I mentioned in one of my previous videos, which you ready? Which you should go check out on YouTube and watch and share and like and all that because some of them are actually pretty good. It's just me prattling crap for an hour, but it's good crap. It's good crap that I like. But yeah, I mentioned something about him dead naming the championship because he keeps
That's right,
referring
yeah.
to it to its old name. And then I'm not joking. I put that video up and it was only up for about an hour, and there's a comment underneath it from him going, "No, take it."
Yeah.
I'm
He was-
glad.
he
I'm glad he
was-
took it in good spirits.
He was telling us about that last time when we had our little Christmas gathering. He was telling us like that he was at work listening to it,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you were just like scoops, and he was just like, "What?"
Do you know what? I can't. Right, we will get to the card in a second, but I can't move on without mentioning this because it's a story that I tell everyone, and I'm really sorry, Scoops, because it is about you. But it is hands down one of the funniest social interactions I've ever seen.
I
and
know what you're gonna say.
And I don't think me explaining it is as funny as what it is, but it's how I saw it. So I was in a lot of pain at the time because my hip had gone again, and I was sitting down.
This was after the show, wasn't it?
It's after the show, and sometimes after the show, we have a little get together in the back of the venue, and we have a good time and a good laugh and celebrate a good night. And I was in a lot of pain, and I was sitting in a chair, and I wasn't like introverted, but I was in that much pain. I was kind of like, I can't really revel with everyone as much. So I was sitting down, and I'm just people watching everyone, watching people playing pool, watching people playing darts, having a laugh. And then I just notice Scoops leaves, and then Scoops comes back. Scoops has 2 drinks. And then you're standing there and you've got your go-to pose where you've got your lean because you're so tall. And as I say, too cool for school. But you've got this lean and you're just leaning like that. And Scoops comes in with the drinks. That's the Scoops walk. Puts him down. And obviously you had paid for the drink.
Yeah.
Or gave him the money. And
he gave me the money. I paid for them.
Right. And that's what it was. And you had the change in your hand.
Come out like that.
And you went like that to drop the change. And Scoops takes one look at you and just goes, and it was you that made it funny because you just went, no. It was almost like
What?
It was like a disappointed dad of like, no. No, that's not what that was. It's not what that was, son. And he looked at you so like, oh, right, okay.
What it was. Because me and him quite often have a laugh about this moment as well, and I'd misremembered it. Apparently, I took his fist, like he fist bumped me. I took his fist and turned it over.
You did, yeah.
I just turned it over.
Yeah, you turn it over and then go, here you go.
Drop the change. And my exact words were, sorry, that's quite funny.
It was so good. What were your words? Sorry.
My words were, no, I'm giving you your change, you fud.
That's spot on. You were honestly, it was the head shake that did it first. It was like, no, just no. I'm so disappointed in this moment. And because I think as well for me, I tunnel visioned on yous. And it was so noisy because it was a really good get together, and there was just so much going on. It was just this little moment happening in the court. It was just like everything, to be honest. And it made me look like a nutter because I'm the only one across the other room dying of laughter.
You noticed it, yeah.
Yeah, and like just people are looking at me like, "What's wrong with Dave?" And I'm like, "Dave saw something very funny."
It was very funny.
So right, we'll get to the card.
Okay.
Right. So for people that didn't watch the RJ Cash podcast, which again you should because it was good, so go watch it. We do these cards. These cards have awful, awful, awful questions on them, and I actually forgot last time. As bad as the questions were to RJ, I forgot to mix in the cards that are even worse. So they're in here as well. Now the rule is, I'm going to just pull these out at random, which I don't think there'll be many more because we've actually gone a fair bit already, chatting away. But you get one pass. That's all you get. So you need to really think, is that one worth passing on?
Okay.
And I'm annoyed because I think this is going to backfire horrifically because you're that young and I'm like, he's probably not done any of these. And it's going to be, oh, wait, me. Okay, so what we got? Oh, no! Oh, I have over 300 cards and I've just pulled one that RJ had.
Wow.
So, no, not having that.
Okay.
Not having that. And that was a safe one, too.
Oh, no.
That was a safe question. It was the bar question. You didn't even call for a bar.
Okay.
So that would have been safe.
I could answer that.
You're not going to. Oh, choose one to skip. Create your own question card. These are going well. It's another RJ one? You saw me mix over 300 cards. Okay, right. So this is a good one because it's not anything you've done. It's an opinion card.
Oh, no.
Okay. I'm touching the mouse. I forgot. I'm still trying to get used to this thing. Do you notice this thing, by the way?
Yeah. Is that just a mouse pad?
It's a mouse pad. It's for a Mac, but it does everything. It's all your mouse clicks, but it goes on controlled hand gestures.
Oh, wow.
And it's been a learning curve. Like something as simple as like zooming in that is not as thing as you'd think. It's like especially when I'm using the editing software for the video stuff, it's been a thingy. Are you ready?
Ish.
Okay. Is it okay to cheat on your partner if you haven't had sex together in a year?
Nah. Probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, I've not been in a relationship for over a year.
Because you're a baby.
Yeah. But nah. Probably just have a word with them.
Have a word with
You know?
No, I agree. I agree with you on that. Because there's obviously a problem.
Yeah.
And if you're still together and you've not had relations in over a year, did I say?
That's what you said.
In a year. Well, there's a problem there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And if you're
so
not,
you think just ask what the problem is, and
because it's so simple, Steve.
well,
It's
that's fair.
so
Yeah.
simple.
Theoretically, ask what the problem is.
Because
If you
every
can't fix it.
every human being on the planet wants to go up to their dearly beloved and go, "Why don't you find me sexually attractive anymore? And why won't you touch me?" Because you know the answer is going to be, it's not good.
The answer is going to be quite depressing, but I mean,
It's better than dragging that out.
oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I agree. I think it's not okay to cheat, right? It's never okay to cheat. It's never okay to cheat. But I'd understand why you would if it was a lapse in self. Well,
yeah.
see again though, right? It's a vague question because there's a lot of context. Because it might be, I'm just looking at it from the male pig perspective. What if nothing's happened in over a year? Go out, have a couple of drinks. Again, not an excuse because, as I say, I've got things about alcohol, but it's not an excuse. But what if someone's shown interest in you and that's the first interest you've had in a long time? Human nature will take its course. You're making that decision to cheat, but
Yeah.
there's willpower is a big thing there.
Mm-hmm. And if you've had a drink, you're not going to have as much willpower. And
there's the other side as well, is the bare psychological bit of like not feeling desired, and then all of a sudden somebody does desire you. That's a huge,
yeah,
you know, especially if it's destroyed your self-esteem. But the conversation will still need to happen, and if you've done that prior to said conversation, it's going to make it worse, isn't it?
Yeah, you've not got as much of a leg to stand on.
It's just going to make it worse.
Yeah,
it's just like now it's a case of why you no touch me, why you no love me, to why you no touch me, why you no love me. By the way, yeah, it's not going to go well.
Nah, that wouldn't be very nice.
I think you just dig the hole deeper.
Mhm.
But yeah, well, that was a safe one.
That was pretty safe. yeah.
Very safe.
A lot more theoretical.
Yes, but it was good. It was good. It wasn't a direct. Have you done this thing?
Mm.
So where are we at? Check my notes. Very professional. So we've gone into who the fuck are you? We've gone into a wee bit of your music, your tastes. You've done the training, bit of wrestling. So yeah, I'm actually gonna go into. So you mentioned very very briefly that you play a bit of guitar. There's a photo of you on your profile pic. Are you playing live?
I was for a while. There's a bar in Thurso, Mr. C's.
Mr. C's.
Used to do a Blue Monday,
Yep.
and I didn't even realize it was a thing. I went in Monday with my friend because Monday's my day off, so it's like one of the only days that I can actually go to the bar and stuff.
I'm taking up your bar time tonight.
No, that's a fair point. But in fairness, with Christmas and New Year, there's only been like a handful of days that I've not had a drink, so I'm not particularly missing it
And
tonight.
you wanted to do the podcast.
Yeah.
That's the answer you're looking for.
Also, yeah.
Also.
Yeah, so we just went in, and there was a really good guitarist in there. Like there was a rock band playing, and then there was a really good guitarist doing. Was it Steve Vai or I think it was Joe Satriani covers, and it's like
Yeah.
really complex stuff. So I was just sort of blown away. And then when he was only up visiting, and he had been in touch with the guy who runs Blue Monday, and I got chatting to them, and this guy that runs it from the band that we're playing, just sort of asked me like, "Do I play myself?" Yeah, blah blah blah, and he said I should come down.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd never played in a band or in front of anyone
You
before.
must have been shitting yourself.
Yeah, I was. I think I went down because it was every 2 weeks. I think I went down the next week it was on. I don't know. I didn't bring my guitar, definitely. I don't know if I played that week or if I just watched. And then maybe the next time after that, he was like, come up and have a go. So I went up playing his guitar, which felt different to mine. And that's a big thing. When I play guitars that feel different, it's like, I need to get used to it. Like,
Yeah, there's.
like if the neck is thicker or thinner than my guitar, or if the strings, like if the,
Yeah.
Well,
it's the same as like when people say when they get into new cars or, again, a reference you wouldn't get, but it's like if you're fully an Xbox guy and then somebody hands you a PlayStation.
Yeah.
You're just like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was quite weird. I think I played Call of Cthulhu by Metallica and Miserlou, which is the Pulp Fiction theme.
Yeah.
I think I only did those two. And it was the drummer from the band was Brian Dodds. And it was him that I was playing with. And
cool.
Yeah, he obviously used to do the
thing. Brian Dodds used to do the announcing for Cadence Pro Wrestling and Combat League Wrestling. And we miss you. You were a good laugh, but we enjoyed having you around. We do miss you. But we understand you get sick of us, and I mean he put up with us for a lot of years. Yeah. A lot of years. I would have run a long time for that. But yeah, so he's a great musician as well.
Yeah, he was a really good drummer. I thought he knew both the songs, like because he was just playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Any musician worth their salt can do that.
Yeah, but obviously I'd never played with any other musician, so I didn't really see it that way. I just thought he knew the songs.
Basically that was like your first jam session.
Literally,
first jam session was Dodds.
Thankfully, the bar was pretty empty, so there was nobody to see because I think I did fuck up a couple bits.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then I kept coming down. Got a bit more confident with it, and just so happened to get a cool photo taken of me playing guitar, wearing my denim vest. So I was like,
and you used your profile pic,
Facebook profile, because before that it'd been like a wolf or something since first year of high school, which I thought was a bit cringy. But
see how you're on about the Blue Monday thing. So again, that weird parallel here. So I was in bands when I was younger, and I used to do Blue Monday in Redwood, which is now the Why Not. Do you ever remember the Redwood?
No, I think that was before my time, but I do know about it.
Yeah. The Redwood was great.
I've seen photos from, and it looked packed.
Yeah, you used to get like really, really good music nights and things like that. So I was in a band called Fear of Faith
Okay.
with Jack.
Jack, I think he's mentioned this one time.
Did he mention it positively or negative?
I can't remember. I think
Do you know what?
this was ages ago.
I have really good memories of it, but I have good memories, but they all like I have many bad memories, and all the bad memories are me.
Really?
Yeah, I was a dick. I really was, but I can only apologize for so much of it because I now realize a lot of it was the autism.
Mm.
And it's not an excuse, but I can't. I've made this sort of thing where I will not apologize for that because it's me. And like I have someone up here. Like I think it was last year, and I was talking over Messenger, and I just went had autism. We'll call it that. I had autism, right? And I overreacted a wee bit because I took something the wrong way,
Okay.
and it just messed me up a bit. And usually now I'm quick to like not be on a phone or have contact. I tend to like really shut myself off from the world. But unfortunately, it wasn't a bad one. It wasn't awful, and then next time I was like, I wanted to apologize for it, but I thought in my head like, no, I'll just say like I admitted I did it. I didn't mean what I said. Tone in the message was not normal or what you in the conversation. I said, but I can't apologize for it because it's me. If I was to apologize, I'm apologizing for having a disability, which I can't.
Yeah, that's a fair.
It's not an excuse for my behavior, but in that it wasn't like I did something really bad to excuse my behavior. But when I was in the band with Jack, when we started, it was really, really good times, good fun. I really enjoyed like the band practice and stuff. But then it was like I ended up kind of like as you do, you get older, girls, and just I didn't see that my behavior wasn't. I wasn't bad. I wasn't a tyrant or anything, but like I'd leave and not tidy up,
Oh right.
and I never thought to do that. And now, like I would always tidy up,
Mhm.
and I just like I know I like really upset them a lot and stuff like that, and like I had a couple of tisms and just sort of drifted away. And then they started like different bands and that, and it was Jack was on the drums at the time. I was singing and terrible rhythm guitar. I can play guitar, but I'm not great.
Okay.
My limit is like a couple of chords and power chords.
Right.
And drop D, baby. I'm not an amazing guitarist by any means. I'm not trained at all. I'm completely self-taught.
Okay.
But I'm not self-taught in the sense of like I push myself. I do what I'm comfortable with. Joe Patterson. I remember Joe Patterson. It was his house. We used to do it in Hallkirk. Joe Patterson was like a prodigy, man. Like he could play Led Zeppelin solos flawlessly
Really.
when he was in first year of high school. That's where I met him, and we did the first battle of the bands. And he could do this trek. He didn't want to do it, and I says, "Do it, right?" And he did it. He can play guitar with his teeth, like properly.
Oh wow.
And obviously, like I hope he doesn't still do it because his teeth won't be there anymore. But he was amazing, and
How
he's
would
all.
that even work?
It sounds sore because you can hear the metal, but he can do it.
Wow.
I've not spoken to him in many years. I think he's happily married now, with long dreads. But yeah, so I was in a band with Jack. We had a bassist at one point, and then we didn't have a bassist. And we played the Blue Mondays, and we played in Mr. C's, which was the Newmarket then.
Yeah.
In fact, we got thrown off in the Newmarket.
Really.
We got thrown off. It was the bassist's mum's boyfriend was in a blues band, and they put us on in halftime, and we got through one of our own songs because that was one thing at the time. We were doing our own music with one or two covers thrown in because I was a
Okay.
dick about covers. Again, that was a tism thing.
Fair.
I didn't want to do covers,
Mhm.
but we did our own music, and we got through one song. We got thrown off. I don't think we were even that bad, to be fair.
Was it
wasn't-
like heavy music or something like offensive? Or?
A little bit. No, it was rock, but it was. I think it was a song we had. It was like the lyrics in it were terrible because they were my lyrics, but it was called "Prison" or something,
Okay.
and it wasn't a god awful song. It was what you'd expect at our skill level, but we were. I don't think we were ever bad. I think we were quite unique at the time because we were doing our own stuff, and I used to
Yeah.
love creating that.
I mean, if it was like nowadays, most bands in Thurso that I know, it's just covers,
See,
especially in the pub. I suppose that's what people want to hear, but I feel like bands doing their own songs is quite rare.
see,
up
like
here.
Jack would agree with me on this. See, when we were like teenagers and we were young doing this, the music scene in Thurso then was insane.
I mean, I have heard a lot of people say,
Oh
like,
yeah,
talk about bands that used to exist, and
yeah. We had off the top of my head, you had Astronaut, Crimson Tide, Estrella, Boss Hog. I'm leaving out so many, and there were so many like solo artists and things as well, and it was just unreal.
mm,
It felt really like when we were just tiny little crap. Oh, not crap. I don't think we were crap at all. But I really enjoyed it. But you know, compared to like other people's musical levels, it felt special that we were involved with others. The scene was just totally different back then.
yeah.
The glory days, we'll call them the glory days.
It's a shame like that it's not like that nowadays, to be honest. But
So your skill level, because you mentioned you're not trained either. Are you self-taught?
I got lessons in high school.
All right, and you've
Yeah.
just kind of gone from there.
Yeah, since leaving high school, it's pretty much self-taught.
And I do believe
But-
that prior you said before we started this that you said you wanted to record a bit.
I'd like to learn about that side of things. Like, I don't write my own music, but I'd like to. I haven't
Alright.
really dipped my toes much into that side of things.
Might be something maybe you and me might have a wee try at something then.
Yeah, I'd quite
And-
like that.
And then we'll see what we can do.
I've spoken to so many people about like getting a jam or starting a band and stuff, but just
So different now.
yeah,
So different now. Back then it'd be like, all right, let's meet up. Or you'd send a voice. I had to send voice clips over on AOL Messenger of me pelting it out on a crappy web mic.
wow.
I'd go, yeah, sure, come down, have a jam. And then I'd get there and all they want plays Metallica. And I'm like, I like Metallica, but I can't sing. Did you hear James Hetfield in that clip? No.
In fairness, I do like play a lot of Metallica.
You know what? I didn't even sing the lyrics to Master of Puppets. I just went, ooh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for 5 minutes straight. And I don't think they noticed.
Absolutely fair.
I totally just managed to blag my way through that. But yeah, so you said you've got 2 guitars.
Well, technically, I've got 3. One of them I don't use anymore because it was like my first guitar, so I'm not wanting to get rid of it
Yeah.
because I'm quite nostalgic for things like that. And I like to keep things like that, but
Hoarder.
pretty much, yeah. But whenever I play it, it's shit. Like, it's a SG, but
I always wanted an SG.
like it looks cool. It's got picture of the guy from AC/DC, Malcolm Young.
That'd be embarrassing if you couldn't remember
I was
the
gonna
picture
say,
of the
yeah.
guy on your guitar.
Right. But like playing it, it's heavy. The neck is really thick. It sounds bad, so I don't touch it anymore.
It's an ornament now.
Yeah, pretty much. Now I've got an Ibanez, and then I've got ESP, I believe it is, an F11, which I just got because it was on Facebook. It wasn't that expensive, and it looks really cool. It's got like spikes and stuff. So
Spiky.
yeah, and it plays really well. I really like it. I try and play every day. But yeah,
I had a Les Paul I never played. Classically Les Paul, you know, the red and gold sort of
Yeah.
hue. And I wasn't keen on it because I was never a classic guitar guy. Like I was a new metal boy.
fair.
I had a Mix 7. Oh, don't look at me. You don't know Mix 7. Oh my god. So you go back to early days of Slipknot. Iowa, I think in particular.
My favorite album.
So you know Mick.
Yeah.
Right. That guitar. It was the Warlock, but it was called a Mix 7. It was unique to him.
Oh,
It
okay.
was more. It was almost more like X and it was chunky.
Now that you say that, I feel like I can kind of picture like
I've totally forgotten the name of the brand. Warlock was the name of their really, really good guitar. The Mix 7. BC Rich.
okay.
BC Rich. The only problem with BC Rich was the guitars were never weighted. So they never like the neck would just drop. You always had to hold it. Like that's the
Ooh.
only thing I didn't like about them. It was a lot of work, especially when you're learning.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a Mix 7 and then a couple of electric acoustics. And then I switch it around, keep it on an acoustic electric. Then my favorite guitar that I had, and I kept it for a long time. I don't know the make, I don't know the name. It wasn't a high brand thing. It was barely functional, decent sound if you had a good pedal. It was okay for recording, but it wasn't a great guitar. It was a cheapy thing, but I loved it. It was kind of like the shape of a Les Paul,
Okay.
black body, and funnily enough, it had basically like the top. It wasn't the Punisher skull because Punisher wasn't a big deal then, but it was a skeleton, and the teeth on the paint went where the track was.
Oh, cool.
And I loved that guitar, and my wife broke it.
Oh no.
I don't think she realized she broke it when she did.
What happened to it?
It was on a stand, and I had it in a stupid place because I was a messy bugger when we first moved in together. And she knocked it over accidentally, and it went plop. I picked it up, never thought anything of it, and then I went to play it and record one day, and the sound wasn't working. The tone switch. So I don't even know the
Oh.
proper names of things on guitars. You know, the toggle, the flickety switch thing.
Yeah, the
flickety switch,
switchy.
the
Yeah.
switchy.
Mhm.
It had obviously landed perfectly on the ground, and it had pushed in, and it had cracked everything inside, so all the electrics were
Oh.
shattered.
Oh no.
Now, I probably could have got it fixed, but back then I was just like, I was so devastated, and I was like, again, this must be a TISM thing, but I was just like so upset and so mad. I was like,
Yeah.
and that was it. I switched. Started recording acoustic for a long time, and since then I've not played guitar since.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't played a guitar in years, long time. I do more synthy stuff and
Oh right, yeah.
programming and computer.
Hmm.
Um,
Like I like I said, I try and play every day, and I try and learn more complex stuff, just to sort of push myself. But I'm not like into different pedals and things like that.
Ah.
I've never really delved into that because I never wanted to be that guy that was like all into guitar gear and stuff, but can't actually play. And now,
Noble.
even though I can play,
But
like
you don't go into the oh yeah I'm awesome. Poser, you're not a poser.
yeah, that's fair.
You're
That's
you're
fair.
again you're similar to me. Like I had my guitars and I had one pedal, and I never pushed any further.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
I really want pedals, but I just haven't looked into it. So, because my amp, it's one that my guitar teacher got me or gave to me. It was one from the high school, and it's got a ton of tones like pre-downloaded in it.
Yeah.
So I just use that because they sound great. So I've never really had a need to get like a distortion pedal or anything like that. I do want a wah pedal so I can do some Kirk Hammett solos properly. Yeah.
See, that's
But-
another thing. Then, right, I'm definitely at some point. I'm gonna get you around some point, and we're gonna have a wee music sesh here, because all you need to do with my equipment is I've got an audio interface. It's not in here just now.
No.
Basically, you plug your guitar in, and you've got thousands of effects and tones through the computer.
Cool.
That's-
That's the sort of thing that would probably be better for me, even though I've not got a great computer. But I don't have a lot of space at the moment at home to get like a big amp and like.
Like this
all
is
your-
like the gear I've got is excessive. Like I haven't got high end studio gear, obviously, but I've got a Mac, and that's the one thing I've always made sure is that like I had my old Mac for about 8-9 years, and it's dying.
Oh.
So, a family member passed. I got a very generous and we inherited. Well, it's not a generous inheritance at all. It wasn't that much in grand scheme. But I was like, "Can I get a new Mac?" And my wife was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "No, can I get a new Mac?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And I was like, "No. I don't even understand the question. Like, can I get a new Mac?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's fine." And then I went upstairs to order it. I'm not joking. I was having palpitations.
They're not cheap.
It wasn't just initial. I was like, "Oh, I'll do that one," and then I was like, "I'll take that too. I'll add that onto it as well." Oh, right, yeah, I need that program. I'll go put that in. Oh, yeah, that would be a lot better having that core than that core, because they've changed it all now. It's not, the chips are on like M1, M2, M3, M4.
Okay.
So tech lesson, right? Going to bore
Yes.
everyone here.
I do not know much about tech.
You know what a Pentium chip is? You've heard Pentium, Intel Pentiums.
Okay.
Right, that uses an Intel. Okay. In 2020 or 2021, Apple decided, nah, we're not going to use other people's chips. We're going to make our own.
Of course. Apple move.
And then this was like M's. Because I actually asked Jack a couple of shows back last year. I was like, he uses Macs. And I was like, I need a new Mac. What do you think? And he just turned around and went, oh, anything is like M this to M that. And I went, cool, man. And I walked away and I'm like, what the fuck is an M chip?
Yeah.
So I had to go home and check it, and I realized. So I put the chip in I wanted. And then I mean, I'm not joking. The zeros were going up, not the
Really?
numbers, the zeros. And I was like this. I was like, Susan, can I have a new Mac? And she was like, yeah. I was like, cheers. And honestly, I clicked that button to buy it, and I almost had a heart attack. I've never ever, but it's been fantastic since I got it, and I've been able to do all this malarkey and then this malarkey with it.
Yeah.
So it's been fantastic in that sense.
Mm.
Time for another card.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
But it's going to be an RG one.
Okay. Really, what you think about this one? Okay.
Okay.
This is what Let's Talk About Meh is about. These are the hard-hitting questions. Okay? I mean, I know we just natter a lot of shit constantly and talk about stuff, but this is why people should tune in. This is what we should be known for. Okay?
Right.
Would you lick a homeless person's ass crack for £25,000? £25,000.
How long have they been homeless?
Would you like a homeless person? So, I mean, if it's just, I mean, he's not got a name or nothing. I'd say if it's just a homeless person, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Right. Man or woman?
Okay. Let's go that we can't tell.
Oh no.
Hair's all long and matted.
So basically, a
Baggy
shower,
clothes.
like dipping them in the river, isn't going to make a
No,
difference.
you
Okay.
just you don't know. It's a lucky bag. You don't know what you're getting.
Mm. And like when you say lick, and when you say ass crack, does that mean going from the bottom right to the top, or just
I
like?
think for 25 grand, it's got to be right at the bottom, up, gently gracing the hole to the top.
I don't think I would.
Because if you're not doing it straight down, then you're just getting the edge of the cheek. That's not an ass crack. You just go, wow,
Damn.
you gotta commit. 25 grand here. Commit.
25.
So, nah.
I don't know if I would.
You're not got enough faith in the NHS to pull you out of that.
Nah. Maybe double it and we'll see. But nah.
Do you know what I would do? I would lick that homeless person's ass crack, take that 25 grand, and I'd give it right back to them.
Really?
No, would I fucking
No.
I wouldn't like it. I would no way.
Nah.
No, I would probably need to spend the 25 grand on getting rid of the amount of hep off my tongue.
If I could get like some of the money beforehand, get a really good
you want
shower.
like a down payment of
Get a down payment, get a really good shower, high-end shower gel, high-end like razor blade and stuff to make sure everything's shaved and clean. Then I would do it.
I don't think
I think that's getting too specific, isn't it?
It's not too specific. I think you're cheating there because you're cleaning the area.
Yeah, then you may as well just like anyone's ass crack.
Now, I do have a workaround for that. A reach around, if you will. What if, right? So you want to bring cleaning products into it. Obviously, you're not allowed to clean up the area. What if you put the shower gel on your tongue? You've got a coating of protection there.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, shower gel does not.
It wouldn't taste nice.
It doesn't taste good. But it's surely got to taste better
Yeah.
than Jane/John Doe's moldy blood crack.
What happens? What happens if the shower gel on your tongue runs out halfway up, though?
I mean, well, then you're in the shit. Quite literally.
I think the answer is no.
No. Okay. Right. We're solid no on that then. Oh goodness me. Do you know what? We're going to do another card straight away. Back to back cards. Back to back. So you're over 18, yeah?
I'm over 18.
I got a funny feeling this might be a pass. Do you think you masturbate less than the average person?
I don't know how much the average person masturbates. You're not Googling it.
I'll hold it a shot for a second. I'm Googling that. I'm googling. These are the things we need to know. We need to know. Oh no! Oh no! Snap! Saved. We're
Oh no,
saved.
you can't Google it.
I can't Google it because the other computer's mouse is dead. Which is the bad thing about a Mac.
Mm.
The mouse is on each charge. Oh well. What was it? I mean, are we talking monthly, annually? I think it's very difficult to answer that question with a bit more context.
Exactly, yeah.
You need some context. I think I'll let you off with that one. I'll let you off with that one. No, there's a lot of. It's a very American thing. Okay. Would you be willing to have a large Confederate flag sticker on your car for a year for a brand new Mercedes Benz?
I can't drive.
It's null and void. Okay, what if you could then? I mean, do you know that?
I would just say that I'm a really big fan of Leonard Skinner.
Do you know that doesn't pass anymore either?
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think it's really not accepted now.
Nah,
Really not.
I wouldn't say so. No, that's fair. I mean, if we're being theoretical, like if I could drive, who's to say that I'm not already driving a brand new Mercedes Benz?
Oh no! See, now you're taking it too far. And see, now you're getting too logical with it.
Oh,
But no, like the I'd like see when I was younger, like I was a teen, I liked Leonard Skinner. I mean, obviously the band itself is not.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's because they were just about like their heritage and stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, I get why the flag
Yeah,
is frowned upon with it now.
I think nowadays it is used more by racists and like
It really did take on a.
it's not like they use their heritage as an excuse, but it's just
It did go really with it, doesn't it? Was it? I can't remember I don't even want to name them actually, the groups and that, but it did go like because I always knew that it was American Civil War. You had the Yankees
yeah.
and you had the Confederates,
Mhm.
and it was just North and South. And obviously, you tend to forget even actually when you think about it simply, the war was it not over slavery to begin with, wasn't it? It was the North wanted to abolish it and the South didn't. I'm sure there must have been more
So
to
I
it than
don't
that.
know an awful lot. I would think that there was more to it, but I know that was a big part of it.
Yeah, and
like,
it's usually the bit it comes up in like when you
Yeah.
in school and that, but
Mhm.
there must have been more to it than
I
that.
think there probably was.
It just must have been so much more. It can't be as simple. I mean, obviously, I don't mean simple to belittle the what it was over, but it must have been more like it was Lincoln, wasn't it, at the time?
Mhm.
Was it Lincoln that kicked off? I can't remember. I don't know my
I think
American
so.
history, but yeah, that's the way I always knew it was North and South, and then obviously, Leonard Skinner use it as their sort of thing because they're from the South,
They're from the South.
and you see it and
Pantera use it as well.
Yeah.
Dimebag Darrell had a guitar with the Confederate flag on it.
And then I think it was 2018, 2017, kind of, that's when it, was that not when it kind of all really kicked off with?
Yeah, I was going to say it was, well, I was going to say the past 5 years, but 5 years ago was 2020.
Time moves differently after lockdown.
I would say in like the past sort of 10 years or so. That's when I started noticing it.
And now,
but
and like they were taking statues down to do with the Southern things and everything.
Yeah, nowadays I think it is used as a bit of a hate symbol.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My Punisher logo got adopted.
Ah, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that for like to do with policing in America?
It was military
Okay.
and police and certain things, yeah. And it did have, I wouldn't say it wasn't racial connotations to it, but it was like Morga. Which I got quite thingy about, and that's why it's taken so long for Disney to do anything with the character again.
Okay, that's fair.
And they don't want the skull shown.
Yeah.
But I do have it on good authority now that John Bernthal coming back as a Punisher in the new Daredevil.
Indeed.
And that's the funny thing with it for me. Why I love the Punisher though was I went through different levels of it. Like, I read if you didn't know right there, I read all these. Yeah, the early versions. This omnibus here was like the cartoony version of it. I'm using the wrong name. What's the author's name there? Can you see? Because I've totally forgotten.
For which one? The omnibus.
Any of them. They're all the same.
Ooh. It's in red on black, so I can't really see.
It's not a great colour scheme.
No, I can't see.
Ah,
I don't know if it even says.
it's. I want to say Grant Morrison, but it's not Grant Morrison. He's Scottish.
I'm not sure.
It's. It'll come to me. But anyway, he kind of like came up with the version of the Punisher that everyone knows now with the leather jacket and the symbol underneath the jacket.
Before it was like blue with like the white sticking out.
It was a bluey black with the white bodysuit. Yeah. It's just that's what that is. That whole big massive book I've got. He did a whole couple of years with that version of it, and then he totally revamped it.
Okay.
And I got into it because I was like, "Ooh, hyper violence," because it is really violent. And then I kind of like go back to it, and I got really into the grey area of it, of the right and wrong, of how far he takes things. You know, he'll kill anyone, or drop the hat just for doing something minor wrong. Then I went back and read it again as I got older, and then I realized I was like, hell, this is actually a commentary on warfare and leaving warfare. And then you just kind of realize, wow, he's really not that good at all. He's not a good guy. He's just wanting to keep the war going. And then there's moments where it very rarely, but Frank Castle's got white knight syndrome. There's always a woman that triggers a lot of this off, and then you realize, oh, he does really care. There is a bit of human in him, but he'll go straight back to black as white and that.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll drop someone just for like crossing the road wrong or something.
Jaywalking.
Like there's a panel I always loved because, as I say, like he's very white knight with women, and he was meeting up with someone that was a contact, and he's just talking to someone on a park bench, and then it's drawn in the background of the panel. It's like a drug pimp, and you can see him slap backhand a woman in this alley, and Frank just goes, 1 minute, and gets up and walks off, and you don't see it, but he hears,
Wow.
and he comes back and just sits back down and goes, "You were saying?" You're like, "Dang, it's cold," and that's like tame stuff. But yeah, it was adopted. I don't fully know what it was again, but that's why it was buried for a while, and why they're not keen to show the skull actually in the show as well, because it's not in the second show a lot, or is it the first show? It's not the vest itself is so degraded that it's not seen a lot. I kind of hope they.
Well, when it was like Netflix, they didn't really lean into the comics, did they? Like, it's been years since I watched Daredevil.
No, they didn't.
I know he had like a really cool costume, but they leaned away from the comics. So
yeah, it was its own thing. I mean, he is. To be fair, John Bernthal was a spot on Punisher.
Oh yeah,
spot on, and I cannot see anyone else doing that role. He had the right gruff, he had the softness, he had the pain, the anguish. I actually really like it's to my knowledge, it's not in any of the books, but it was Daredevil season 2. They gave him it's in the trailer as well. They gave him the rhyme. Was it 1 batch, 2 batch, penny and dime?
Yeah, that rings. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and it's just I always remember his growl, like the way he says it, and the gunshots in between. I'm like, oh, goosebumps.
That's cool.
Do you remember the trailer for the first Punisher season?
No.
It was Metallica.
Was it 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and now that you say that, I'd forgotten about that.
I always remember like near the end, like the big crescendo bit. They match the drum roll to the gun flashes of the M16, and I was like, oh,
that's cool. Yeah.
I was like, I really want to see this show. Really. Right, I think we'll do one more card. And then oh wow, I had about a dozen of these create your question cards. I really need to empty the deck because it's not been a good deck. But we'll do one more, and then I think we'll wind down because we've been going, which has been good. No. No. I'm saving that one. Saving that one. By the way, your refusal is gone now.
Oh.
Because it's the last card. So.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm scared.
So I quite like these worst cards because they're more like broad range of like would you rather's than have you. So, would you rather have sex with one of your parents' best friends than smell like a bag of urine for a month?
Bag of urine.
Very, very specific, a bag of urine.
I mean, probably. I can't think of anyone in particular.
Oh,
Amongst-
wait. You would rather sleep on your parents?
They're best friends.
One of your parents' best friends. Yeah, best friends, it says. Not friends, best friends.
Yeah, I can't think of who my parents' best friends might be, but it's that or smell. Like, there's nothing, you can't cover up the smell. Like, if I just
No. You
douse
see,
myself
you're
in
going too,
aftershave.
you're going too logic.
Damn. Okay. See, I don't like smelling bad. Like, mm,
Is that actually a thing? Like a pet peeve? You're smelling bad.
yeah, I try and like even today, I was wearing a different shirt, and then I cooked a steak, and not that steak's a bad smell, but I smelled of like the smoke and the cooking and that, so I changed my shirt because I was like, nah.
See, that's funny because I remember backstage, and I can't remember. Oh no, it wasn't backstage. It was in the cupboard. It was in the cupboard. We were cutting the promo, and it was very polite of you, but it was such a random thing. And you had Liam, and you were like pulling him in, and you were growling in his face, and like you were in full fucking evil, and then you just went, "I'm sorry if my breath smells." And Liam was just like, "It's cool, man. It's cool." As you still had him by the lapels.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, probably I would.
So you would rather the friends. Now you see, I think I would rather take the bag of urine because the bag of urine will only last a month.
I suppose, yeah.
The trauma you will carry for the
That's
rest of your
a
life.
fair point. The shame.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll take the bag of urine. I'll even open that bag of urine. I'll pour it over me. Therapy is expensive. Well, I think we're gonna wind down now.
Excellent.
I've had a really good conversation with you. That was fun. And again, I've said this with everyone, but I'm definitely going to get you back on again because we're just covering things like the basics, like what's training like, what's this like, what's that, you like this, you like that. But I kind of feel like there's room for conversations with people. But yeah, it's been a good conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you.
And you definitely. I wasn't sure. I was like, is he gonna come out of his shell a bit with it? And
I wasn't sure either, to be honest.
And do you know what? See, as soon as we got into sleep talking, boom, you were just like, yeah, I'm fine. You relaxed a lot with it. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. And now I've got to do the awful socials again. So if you want to contact me on email, it's official at letstalkaboutme@gmail.com. Instagram, which is my main social media platform. I just put like videos, advertising clips of these. It's Let's Talk About Me 1. And yeah, the YouTube is Let's Talk About Me. Just search for it. Just it's there. I mean, if you're watching this video, you're already there. That's what I keep saying. But yeah, like, subscribe, share. You ever seen the video of the lassie goes on about styrofoam? She can't say the word styrofoam.
I think so, yeah.
That's what I'm like with the like and share. Like I genuinely, my insides just go cold. But yeah. So thanks again for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Good laugh, good fun, and I definitely want to do it again.
Yes.
Right. Peace.